The Commanders' defense wasn't good enough last year, and that's exactly why they went out and loaded up on reinforcements this offseason. That and more coming up right now on Locked On Commanders.
You are Locked On Commanders, your daily podcast on the Washington Commanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
This is Locked On Commanders. I am David Harrison, here with you 5 days a week, but also covering the Washington Commanders locally for WUSA9.com and for Sports Illustrated's CommanderGameDay.com. I want to thank you for making Locked On Commanders your first listen or view today. And whether you're an everydayer or you're just coming through checking us out for today's episode, I appreciate you. To those everydayers, the ones who come through every single day, a special thank you to all of you. And if anybody out there has not already, please make sure you subscribe for free on YouTube or wherever you're listening to today's episode. If it's your first time here, welcome. Thanks for finding the program. Hopefully you like what you hear and you come back again real soon. Coming up on today's episode, we're going to talk about how the new uniforms connect the past and the present, which Commanders are next in the NFL Top 100, and why the secondary finally has matchup flexibility. But first, the defensive front got a serious upgrade this offseason. At least that's the hope. All that is coming up on today's episode of Locked On Commanders, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And this episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com to get 50% off your first year. The Washington Commanders defense got tougher, deeper, and smarter up front, with veterans like Dietrich Wise Jr., Javon Kinlaw, and Jacob Martin helping to reshape the trench rotation. Physicality and pressure defined the 2024 defense, but Washington needed better execution, depth, and versatility, especially when it came to run defense. These new additions could help lock all of that in the 2025 NFL season. Looking at the front seven upgrades, right? Earlier this week, if you missed it, you might want to go back and check it out. We went back to the 2024 NFL season, identified the challenges that the Commanders defense really face in that season, coming out of the season, what they needed to address in order to get better. Here, we're going to look at the new pieces and some returning pieces that might have some new roles in the defense this year in an effort to try to solve those challenges, overcome those challenges here this season. Starting with the front seven, Dietrich Wise Jr., defensive end from the New England Patriots as a free agent, brings a veteran edge-setting ability and an inside-out versatility. The man can reduce all the way down inside if you need him to. Don't recommend putting him all the way down inside, but he can do it and has done it. Last year for the New England Patriots, posted 4 tackles for loss, 15.9% tackle rate, and it all in run defense. That's all just in run defense, despite slight pressure dips from 6.3% to 5.2% from the first 10 weeks of the season to the back half of the season. Jacob Martin, new DN/outside linebacker. He's going to play a little bit of both. Joe Witt Jr. confirmed to us earlier this offseason, expected to play, like I said, defensive end or outside linebacker. His production at the end of last season, especially as a pass rusher, really jumped from 14.7% of his snaps producing pressures to 38.5% pressure rate on third downs. He had 2 sacks and 9 pressures late in 2024 on third downs alone. Contributed 11 run tackles, 3 tackles for loss across 87 rush defense snaps. 14.1% of Chicago's stops were made by Jacob Martin. So look, he's a good run defender. He's a good pass rusher. Not great at either, right? So we've kind of talked about him before here on the program. Dante Fowler Jr., a better all-around pass rusher. But Jacob Martin is someone who can be in there. And if you think it's pass, but the opposing team decides to run the ball, you're not just dead in the water on that side of the defense. Javon Kinlaw, another veteran, comes through free agency from the New York Jets, started his career at the San Francisco 49ers. Javon Kinlaw adds a disruptive size and power to the defensive line, expected to be a significant upgrade in base fronts, along with Deron Payne, potentially Johnny Newton, depending on how he goes, and could even help play the edge in certain packages. Kinlaw's arrival strengthens early down run fits alongside Johnny Newton and Eddie Goldman, another veteran free agent that came over this offseason. Newton progressed as a rotational starter last year, really was thrust into action when Jonathan Allen tore his pec against the Baltimore Ravens, but is expected to anchor and be participating on a little bit more first and second down snaps this season. Goldman, 6'3", 300 plus pounds, brings proven size, the ability to plug gaps, and a short yardage defender, especially on early downs. Now, you get to the second level of the defense and part of the front seven. Speed at linebacker should improve depth and versatility. Kane Medrano, your rookie out of UCLA, a little bit of a safety hybrid linebacker type of player. Jordan McGee, back this season, healthy right now. Certainly looks like he hasn't missed a step from the last time we saw him fully practicing healthy. Dominique Hampton, the safety drafted out of Washington, who developed as a linebacker last year. They all offer athletic rotational ability. And Jordan McGee specifically is someone that last year we saw Joe Witt Jr. trying to install, starting the early stages of installing a 3 linebacker package for his defense that had him joining Bobby Wagner, Frankie Louvu on the field. Jordan McGee ends up injured. You basically have to scrap the install of that whole thing altogether. Jordan McGee is back now. Certainly could see some of that. When Bobby Wagner wasn't participating in team drills during the mandatory minicamp and OTAs, it was Jordan McGee getting those reps along with Frankie Louvu. Certainly a good sign for his development and where the team wants to take him. Again, Kane Medrano as a hybrid, kind of weak side linebacker type of player could certainly have a role here. McGee is going to boost sub packages, but also that 3 linebacker package potential. And Hampton is going to be a flex type player. He could be a safety, could be a linebacker, dime, big nickel, just kind of versatility. And again, playing that matchup football, Joe Witt Jr. is going to be able to match up against opponents a lot better now with some of the players he's got on that second level. Rotational depth is also going to help reduce fatigue. You guys remember this. There more than one occasion we saw Frankie Louvu out there looking gassed, Bobby Wagner out there looking gassed, and the reason for it, just didn't have the horses, just didn't have the guys to rotate in, whether it was from injury or just a lack of talent behind them. They just had to have that heavy snap count, especially a guy like Bobby Wagner, a veteran who's been in the league as long as he is. You want to try to manage that workload as much as possible. Reliable second level contributors are going to help maintain the intensity, maintain the athleticism, deeper into the games, deeper into the depth chart. Keep Bobby Wagner and Frankie Louvu a little bit more fresh. Mostly Bobby Wagner. Building off of what Joe Witt Jr. and Dan Quinn, of course, the head coach, built off last year. Trench control, blitz disguised as rotational trust. Washington increased its blitz rate from 28.8% to 32.6% from week 10 on. Edge pressures, however, fell from 18.8% to 11.5%, validating the need for replacements on the edge. Dietrich Wise Jr., Jacob Martin. If those edge numbers don't get better on Dorrance Armstrong's side this year, and those pressures, we had a good amount of pressures, but if those pressures don't turn into sacks, probably expect the conversation to be a lot about replacing Dorrance Armstrong next season. With more consistent trench personnel, Washington can disguise pressures, control tempo much more effectively than it did in 2024. And that, of course, is the point. So the front seven, it's got more power. They got bigger. They got stronger. Holding up at the point of attack, should be better against the run with still the ability to get after the quarterback. More depth, especially in the second level, and more ways to generate pressure, setting the stage for a secondary built to adapt and attack. That and more coming up next on today's episode of Locked On Commanders, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And today's episode of Locked On Commanders is brought to you by Monarch Money. When you're rebuilding a defense with discipline and detail, like the Commanders are, having total control matters. The same is true with your finances. Monarch Money gives you that control. Whether you're trying to save smarter rather, invest better, or finally get a grip on your subscriptions, Monarch works like your personal CFO. One dashboard, every account, real-time visibility. What surprised me the most when I started using Monarch was how fast takeout and quick trips to the coffee shops all added up. Seeing it all broken down helped me spot the problem and course correct, just like a good coordinator, adjusting on the fly. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, though. It's your full financial command center. And if you're planning long-term, like Washington is with its roster, this is the tool that helps you stay on track, build wealth, and hit your financial goals. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year. The Commanders didn't just go out and add defensive backs to their roster this offseason. They added versatility, they added trust, and they added answers to some of the challenges they faced back in 2024. At least, again, that's the plan. The Commanders' single high, man-heavy scheme demands trust. You have to be able to rely on guys to do their jobs and do them well. New DBs, hybrid safeties, all that expands the coverage toolbox for the Washington Commanders. We've already talked about some of these players. Guys like Kane Medrano, guys like Dominique Hampton could potentially be a part of those coverage schemes. linebackers are going to cover from time to time. Yes, even Bobby Wagner, who's not as good at it as he once was. Frankie Lou, who's going to be asked to cover sometimes, things like that. But obviously, it's your secondary, your DBs, more often than not that you're asking to cover. And their key additions from a veteran standpoint, Jonathan Jones, Will Harris. Veteran flexibility in man, in nickel. They've both worked the slot. They've both worked outside. Will Harris has worked the safety position. So you certainly like that kind of stuff. Jones started outside in New England, but he's also got slot experience. An ideal fit for the Washington Commanders' interchangeable sub packages. Again, playing that matchup defense. He gives you another asset, another player who's versatile and has the ability to move around to help you match up well against your opponents. Will Harris, he's been praised by Joe Jr., defensive coordinator, already for his communication and his versatility. Joe Jr. saying, quote, he can come in and cover, he can play in the box. I've been pleased with his communication, end quote. Literally flexing that veteran ability to communicate, but also that ability to play anywhere that the Washington Commanders defense might ask him to play. Their presence helps reduce the defense's reliance on blitzing to cover up for mismatches. Critical since, again, the Washington blitz rate last year rose to 32.6% late in 2024, yet the pressure rate went down. So blitzing going up, pressure rate going down, typically defensive line problem. Upgrade the defensive line, hopefully allows you to not have to blitz as much, or at least not blitz as many people as much, and allows you to have more people in coverage, covering up more space in that area. Again, additions. Rookie Trey Amos, very exciting addition. Length, athleticism, obviously developmental project, right? He's gonna potentially play a very important role. Some of us are already projecting him to be the starter opposite of Marshawn Lattimore. Certainly could end up being there. 6'1", 195, according to his NFL draft profile. Amos brings NFL-ready size. He's got speed, and the coaches like his physicality in press coverage already, even in limited ability to play physically in practice. He wasn't breaking any rules. Don't worry about that. Of course, he's going to be viewed as a developmental type of guy, outside cornerback with long-term starting traits, but getting an early interception off of Jaden Daniels certainly helps his hype, right? But looking the part all through OTAs, all through the mandatory minicamp, never really had that quote-unquote rookie moment where he kind of looked at him and said, it's okay, he's young, it's his first year, he'll get better at that. No, he looked very good all along. Talking about some guys who are returning from the 2024 roster to the 2025 roster, but might have some new roles. Tyler Owens, safety Tyler Owens, rangy hybrid guy who could play Buffalo nickel, can play in the box. They could have him deep. He's gotten some work in the slot. Didn't look super clean in the slot, to be quite honest with you. But again, give him some time to get some experience there, get his feet under him. Certainly could do that. Joey Jr. Had a quote about T.O., Tyler Owens, earlier this offseason, said, you have T.O., who is very athletic, rangy guy. Now, what is he? Can he be the Buffalo nickel? Can he knock people back? Can we play him like a linebacker? End quote. So just a very versatile guy, a guy who's going to get tested in a lot of different places while the Washington Commanders try to figure out where his best place is. But he's, again, rangy, very athletic guy. Owens had standout testing numbers during the NFL draft process in 2024, finished with the highest athleticism score of all safeties entering the 2024 NFL draft. Flashed physicality in limited reps in 2024 as well. Was one of the people that just jumped off the practice field early on when he made the team last year. Could fill that Jeremy Chin role, right? Jeremy Chin vacating that spot, heading to the Las Vegas Raiders. Certainly could see Tyler Owens filling that role as a movable DB, linebacker hybrid in dime or big nickel looks. Certainly could see Tyler Owens for that as well. Washington allowed 5.7 to 5.9 yards per carry on second downs last season alone. Tyler Owens' role could be key to improving tackling consistency behind the line of scrimmage, of course, at the line of scrimmage, and helping to reduce that number, because that is way too many yards to be given up on second down consistently throughout the season. Robert McDaniel, undrafted free agent this year, as well as cornerback Fentrell Cypress II, Carlin Viggers, 3 undrafted guys who could certainly make an impact on the defense down the road. I wouldn't necessarily count on it this year, but certainly could represent deep roster guys who dark horses, wild cards, whatever you want to call them. Athleticism, size, special teams upside, certainly with all 3 of those guys. Rob McDaniel specifically, 6'2", 207. I've kind of said here on the show, like, to me, he's the most Jeremy Chin-like physical build, right? Like, he looks the Jeremy Chin part the most of anybody else on this roster, in my opinion. Obviously doesn't have the experience as an undrafted rookie here this year, but He fits the size, speed mold of a developmental hybrid linebacker safety type of player. Could push for special teams, right? I wouldn't count him out of the roster race at all. Like we see when you turn on the tape of him. Depth safety, but special teams is going to be the way that he makes the roster right off the bat. Just like guys like Tyler Owens, just like guys like Jeremy Reeves, and then you work your way up from there. Joey Jr., his framing of Owens' role to indirectly applying to Rob McDaniel. I think versatile players kind of have to prove that they have the ability to fit somewhere, right? Like versatile. It's funny, the word versatile and the word tweener are very close. One is a negative, one is a positive. Versatile is you can do a lot of good things, and we're just going to find the best place to use you. That's Tyler Owens. Rob McDaniel, you hope he's versatile. If he's a tweener, then it means he does a lot of different things okay, but he doesn't do any of them great enough to ever make the field. And now you're a tweener. You're not a full-fledged safety. You're not a linebacker. You're just kind of a guy that does a little bit of everything, but not enough to make the roster. So we'll see if Rob McDaniel is versatile or if he's a tweener. Cypress and Vigors, cornerbacks, they're long-armed, aggressive corners with the traits to contribute on kick and punt units early. Again, I don't expect them to necessarily challenge for an active roster spot right away. Definitely looking more like practice squad, candidates and all that kind of stuff, but certainly guys to look out for. Carlin Vigors specifically had an interception to wrap up the mandatory minicamp, so you like seeing that for the young guy. The Commanders struggled to force turnovers. Speaking of which, they allowed explosive runs on second and third downs more exclusively than any other down. These depth players could help stabilize back-end tackling and pursuits. Some of them as early as 2025, but some of them obviously are going to be projects, guys that you look to develop and see if they can't make some noise, 2026, maybe 2027, somewhere on down the line. And while the defense is reshaping its identity and depth and versatility, the franchise is reconnecting with its past and earning fresh respect across the league and from the Washington Commanders fan base. That and more coming up next on today's episode of Locked On Commanders, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. The Commanders are blending history with their current future momentum, forward momentum, unveiling a throwback look that honors their Super Bowl legacy while seeing modern stars like Laremy Tunsil earn national recognition. A lot of stuff dropping on Wednesday. And, our Thursday episode was a deep dive into the offense, how all the new players could impact it. And just like this episode, but really impact the offense and all the challenges they faced in 2024. And the defense, mainly because it's 11 dudes operating as one. It's harder to isolate each man's one-on-one individual potential as much as is the offense. So the offense, we really fleshed out that entire thing on yesterday's episode. Today, the defense, we don't have to stretch it out as much. We have some time to talk about the new uniform, and we have time to talk about Laremy Tunsil being the first Commander revealed on the NFL Top 100 list. Let's start with the uniforms, guys. Commanders unveiled the new Super Bowl era uniforms. And I mean, look, is there room for potential improvement? Sure. Because of that, I'm going to give it an A, not an A+, right? And I don't really give A pluses in, like, whenever I grade, right? It's A, B, C, D, right? It's not or F, right? But I love them. I mean, I think they're great. I think they bring back the history of the team. I think that when you put them side by side, like some people are kind of like, I don't really see that big of a difference. But when you put them side by side with the current uniform, you definitely see the differences. Being around them enough, I guess I saw the differences right away. I really dig it. I think that it's a great look. Throwback inspired alternate uniforms, a nod to the Joe Gibbs championship years of the franchise, the greatest years of this franchise that hopefully they're getting back to now with Dan Quinn and Jaden Daniels and all these other guys. Designed for modern performance, obviously the W is still there, but styled with burgundy gold stripes, white jerseys, burgundy pants, gold stripe helmets, and that gold face mask. I mean, it looks so good. I cannot wait to see those lids in person, man. And look, the first time they're going to wear them, week 9 against Seattle Seahawks. Then they're going to wear them again week 13 against the Denver Broncos. And then the third and final time they're going to wear them this season, week 17 at home against the Dallas Cowboys on Christmas on Netflix. But week 9 is too far away. Like, I want to see these new helmets. I need to see these new helmets. Hopefully, the team can do us a solid and let us get a look at them, during training camp or something. I need to see these new helmets, man. I want to see them in person because I think they're going to look really, really sharp. Former legends like Charles Mann, not former legends, he's a legend, right? Legends like Charles Mann praised the design for reconnecting with the team's most successful era. There's an article up on WSA9.com about with Mann's comments in there. You can go check that out. The jerseys are going to be available for purchase in September. Early merch drops and Fanatics notifications will be going out. So if you want to find out, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have a Fanatics account. I don't know how to shop on Fanatics, and I don't know how to get notified. But if you want to get notified, Fanatics, there is a way to sign up for notifications. I'm sure that there are other fans out there who know exactly how to do it. Unfortunately, I can't help you with that. I don't do that kind of stuff. But yeah, if I'll tell you what, if I was ever going to, it would be honestly, it would be one of these helmets. If you're watching on YouTube, as you can tell, I'm a helmet guy. So I would buy one of those lids. NFL Top 100. So the NFL Top 100 getting released is a little bit different this year. 2 players at a time, Monday through Friday, every Monday through Friday, 2 players, one at 10 a.m., one at 11 a.m. And then September 1st, the entire top 10 will be revealed at one time. I tweeted, if you follow me on X at dharrison82, it's okay if you don't. I don't tweet a whole lot, but when I do, I don't know. Sometimes it's stupid. Sometimes it's funny. Sometimes it's important. This one was a little bit important, right? It's rankings. I don't know how important it really is, but I have a source who informed me that this week on Wednesday, that one Washington Commanders player would be getting revealed on the NFL Top 100. That player turned out to be Laremy Tunsil, number 86 overall. That same source has informed me that next week, another player will be revealed. That's all I can tell you. But it's coming. So another Commanders player is coming next week. So Laremy Tunsil, number 86, down from number 71. He was 71 in the 2024 Top 100. But again, still one of the top-rated offensive tackles in the league, according to players. Top 100 is voted on by players only. So these are the players voting for fellow players. Tunsil started all 17 games last season for the Houston Texans, allowed just 2 sacks on 624 pass blocking snaps, earned an 8.3% pressure rate, which was the 12th lowest among left tackles with at least 200 pass blocking snaps. Graded 4th best in pass blocking by PFF and posted a career best 72.7 run blocking grade at the age of 30. So some good things that the Washington Commanders saw to bring him in. They brought him in via an offseason trade. Praised for his leadership and mentorship so far this offseason, especially with rookie Josh Connerly Jr. At least he's been praised by most of your local media. Projecting more Commanders in the NFL Top 100, I think Terry McLaurin has got to be in there. I think he was 97 last year, and after the season he had, he's not going down, right? So he's got to go up, and up is better in this case, right? Bobby Wagner, I think, has got to be in there. Second team All-Pro last year. Certainly has he dropped a step athletically? Absolutely. But his influence, his impact on the team, very much still well and alive. Jaden Daniels, I think, is going to make his NFL Top 100 debut. I don't see why he wouldn't. Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think Houston Texans quarterback C.J. Stroud was in like the 30s after he won Offensive Rookie of the Year. So if that trend kind of continues, I don't know. Jaden Daniels, like top 25. I think, that's kind of the window we might be looking at here. Deebo Samuel was on the top 100 in the NFL Top 100 last year with the San Francisco 49ers. After the down season and the overweightness and all that stuff, I don't know if he's going to make it, but I think he's certainly a candidate. I'd like to think that linebacker Frankie Louvu is a candidate, second team All-Pro. I wouldn't, be surprised if he's on there at all. Daniels, again, making his debut. The other are returning honorees, veterans, or some of these guys, recent top 100 players. I think Louvu would be making, maybe Louvu would be making his first top 100. I'll have to research that, so don't quote me on that. But as the Commanders gear up for a season built on physical defense, versatile coverage, and legacy pride, it is clear that this roster is deeper, sharper, and more connected than it has been in years. And it's a lot of fun for me to cover for you and with you, and a lot of fun for me to see Washington Commanders fans so happy, because you all were not as happy when I got on this beat almost a handful of years ago. So good to see it. Happy for you. Hopefully it stays going in that direction. That's going to do it for today's episode. Next time on Locked On Commanders, General Manager Adam Peters still has time in cap space for one more move before training camp, and he might just need to go ahead and make that move. In the meantime, if you got questions or comments, you can text me directly by becoming a Locked On Commanders insider at joinsubtext.com/LockedOnCommanders. You text me, I text you. We go beyond the show and behind the scenes. Thanks for making Locked On Commanders your first listen today and every day. For your second listen, check out Locked On NFL Scouting as the Commanders reinforce their defense with veteran depth and hybrid versatility, Kyle Krabs and Joe Marino break down how every NFL team balances roster building, cap strategy, and long-term success. Find Locked On NFL Scouting on YouTube or wherever you're getting this podcast. And to the everydayers out there, I see you every day. I appreciate you every day. And I thank you every day, especially today. Until next time, stay safe, be kind to one another. We'll talk again real soon right here on Locked On Commanders, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.